You own a business, you make good money, but your CPA is doing their job, writing off everything they can, and that's smart until you need to borrow money because suddenly on paper, you don't look so great. I am Ron Siegel, certified liability advisor, helping families build wealth through strategic debt management. If you're a business owner, you've probably run into this problem. You go to a bank, you apply for a loan, and they look at your tax returns and say, we can't make the income work. Meanwhile, you're sitting there thinking, I paid cash for my truck last year. What do you mean the income doesn't work? Here's what's happening. Traditional lenders use your adjusted gross income from your tax returns to qualify you. But if you have a good CPA, and you should have a good CPA, if you need one, let me know, your adjusted gross income might be a fraction of what you actually earn. All those deductions, all those write-offs, all that smart tax planning works against you when a lender is looking at your numbers. So what do? You're sitting on equity in your home. Maybe you need to consolidate some business debt. Maybe you want to reinvest in your company. Maybe you need to do some work on your house. But the traditional route feels like a dead end because the numbers on your 1040 don't tell the real story. This is where a home equity loan can change the game for you, and not the kind where you're buried in paperwork for 6 weeks. I'm talking about a home equity loan that takes about 20 minutes of your time and can be funded in 7 to 10 days. Let me say that again. 20 minutes of your time, funded in as little as 7 to 10 days. Now, let me explain why this matters for business owners specifically. A traditional home equity loan or a cash-out refinance through a conventional lender is going to require full income documentation, tax returns, profit and loss statements, sometimes 2 years of business returns, and then run all those numbers through their formulas, and your write-offs kill your qualifying income. But this quick home equity loan focuses on the equity in your home. You've built it, you own it, and you should be able to access it without jumping through hoops designed for W-2 employees. Think about it this way. Let's say your home is worth $500,000 and you owe $300,000 on your mortgage. You've got $200,000 in equity. That's real wealth. That's real money you've built over time. And you shouldn't be locked out of your own equity because your CPA is good at their job. I had a client recently who owns a small construction company. Solid business, good crews, plenty of work. But after his accountant ran through depreciation on his equipment, vehicle deductions, home office materials cost, his tax showed maybe $60,000 in income. On a traditional loan, that's what the lender sees. $60,000, try qualifying for much with that. But his home had over $175,000 in equity. We got him into a home equity loan. 20 minutes of his time, he was funded in 8 days. He used the money to pay off a high-interest equipment loan and a couple of credit cards. And here's where it gets really interesting. This is the part I want everyone to hear, not just business owners. Before we made that move, his debts looked like this: a mortgage at about 6%, an equipment loan at 9%, 2 credit cards, one at 19 and one at 22, and a small line of credit for his business at 12%. 5 different debts, 5 different rates, 5 different payments. Now, most people focus on the rate of one loan. They ask me, Ron, what rate can you get me? And I understand why. That's what everyone talks about, but that's the wrong question. The right question is, what's your household blended interest rate? Your household blended interest rate is the weighted average of every debt you carry, not just your mortgage, everything. When you add up all the balances and all the rates, you get one number that tells you what debt is actually costing your household. And that one number is more important than any single rate on any single loan. For this client, when we calculated his household blended interest rate, it was sitting at 11.2%. That's the real cost of his debt, not the 6% on his mortgage. But he felt pretty good about it. Even the 11.2% across the board. Didn't feel so good about that one. After we used the home equity loan to pay off the equipment loan and the credit cards, his household blended interest rate dropped to about 7.1%. Massive shift. His monthly cash flow improved by over $1,200 a month. And here's the key. He didn't earn more money. He didn't get a raise. He didn't bring on new clients. He simply restructured what debt he already had. That's what strategic debt management looks like. You take the assets and the income you already have, put them in a position where they're working for you instead of against you. Now, could he have just kept making minimum payments on those credit cards? Sure. But he could have just toughed it out on that new equipment loan. Absolutely. But every month he waited. That 11.2% blended rate was eating into his wealth every single month. And this is what I mean when I say strategy beats rate always. Getting a home equity loan at whatever rate it comes in at was still a better move than leaving $40,000 on credit cards at 20%. The rate on the equity loan matters less than the impact it has on his total debt picture. So here's what I want you to do. And I'm talking to business owners, W-2 employees, retirees, everyone. I want you to take 2 steps. First, go to rsrlinks.com/keysteps. That's rsrlinks.com/keysteps. That's going to walk you through the budgeting and planning side. It helps you see where you stand right now and what your next move should be. Second, go to rsrlinks.com/homewealth. That's rsrlinks.com/homewealth. That's where you start understanding what your equity can do for you as part of a bigger wealth building strategy. And if you're a business owner who's been frustrated by the traditional lending process, who's been told no because your tax returns don't show enough income, let's have a conversation. We do our meetings over Zoom. It takes about 20 minutes, and we'll show you what's possible. The number is 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. I am Ron Siegel. Thanks for listening to the Mortgage 101 segment brought to you by rsrlinks.com/salesmax, rsrlinks.com/salesmax.